The grid dies at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, and by nightfall your apartment building is a vertical freezer. Tomb where every floor above ground level becomes a windscrubbed death trap, and you're huddled in your $500 REI sleeping bag wondering why your core temperature is dropping faster than the stock market that morning. Here's why. You thought insulation was something you bought, that gear would save you, that somehow your cozy urban life prepared you for the physics of a dead city where heat bleeds out through concrete faster than blood from a severed artery. You're wrong. Your sleeping bag is rated for controlled lab conditions with a ground pad and a tent. Not for a 7th floor apartment where convection currents rip through broken windows and conduction sucks warmth straight through the floor into the frozen earth below. The collapse doesn't care about your Amazon wish list. It cares about thermodynamics, and right now thermodynamics is killing you at roughly 1 degree per hour until hypothermia shuts down your brain and you become another statistic nobody's left to count. But here's the spite-fueled truth. Every piece of trash around you, every scrap of urban debris from ceiling tiles to car seats to shredded newspapers, is a survival tool you've been stepping over your entire life. Water conducts heat 25 times faster than air, which is why your sweat-soaked clothes are a death sentence, and dry trash layers are your only salvation. Air is the best insulator on Earth, but only if you trap it in dead pockets where convection can't steal it. And every crumpled piece of garbage in your building can do exactly that if you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a wasteland engineer who refuses to freeze because the world ended. Think. Fire keeps you alive. Wrong again. Fire in an urban collapse is a dinner bell for every desperate scavenger within 6 blocks. A smoke signal that screams supplies here. Kill the owner. And a calorie vampire that demands constant feeding while you're already starving. You'll burn through your furniture in 3 days, your books in 2 more, and then you're tearing apart structural wood in a building that's already compromised, turning your shelter into kindling while the smoke clogs your lungs and marks you for violence. Meanwhile, the radiation from that open flame is bleeding infrared straight through your broken windows into the frozen void outside, heating the entire dead city except you. Because thermal radiation doesn't care about your feelings. It just obeys the Stefan Boltzmann law and carries your precious BTUs into the darkness at the speed of light. Every calorie you burn in that fire is a calorie you won't have tomorrow when the wood runs out and the temperature drops another 10 degrees and your neighbors start eyeing you like livestock. The fatal illusion isn't that fire doesn't work. It's that fire works too well for everyone except you. Advertising your location, consuming your resources, and leaving you weaker by the day until you're just another frozen corpse in a burned-out room. Your high-rise apartment becomes a vertical wind tunnel the moment the heating system dies, because hot air rises and cold air sinks, and every stairwell becomes a convection engine pumping freezing wind through your building like a bellows. The water pressure dies within 6 hours once the municipal pumps fail, which means every toilet above the 3rd floor is now a dry hole, and every faucet is a monument to the infrastructure you took for granted. Your freezer food rots in 48 hours without power, turning into a biohazard that'll poison you faster than starvation. And your pantry staples are suddenly the most valuable currency in a building full of unprepared neighbors who thought grocery stores were permanent. Think your community stays civilized? Ask anyone who lived through Hurricane Katrina or the Texas freeze or any blackout lasting more than 72 hours. Civilization is 3 missed meals, deep, and your hallway will smell like violence before the end of week 1. The physics of urban collapse is simple. Height equals isolation, density equals competition, and comfort equals weakness. You're surrounded by resources and enemies in equal measure, and the only question is whether you understand thermodynamics better than the corpses to be on floors 8 through 12. Method 1. Turn ceiling tiles into layered insulation vaults that trap dead air and stop conduction cold. Every dropped ceiling in every office building and apartment complex is packed with rectangular foam or fiberglass tiles designed to deaden sound, which means they're already engineered to trap air in tiny pockets. Exactly what you need. Rip them down, Stack them 3 to 5 layers thick around your core sleeping zone, and you've built a radiation shield that keeps your infrared body heat from bleeding into the walls. Conduction steals heat through direct contact, so layer those tiles under your body as a ground pad, separating your flesh from the frozen concrete slab that's trying to drink your core temperature. Air gaps between tiles matter. Don't compress them flat or you'll squeeze out the insulating dead air and turn them into heat highways. Build a low box around your sleeping space, tile walls on all sides, tile roof overhead, and you've just created a microenvironment where your body heat has nowhere to go except back into you. This isn't comfort. This is physics forcing heat to stay in your thermal envelope instead of convecting into a frozen apartment. Pause and look around. Every office, every school, every commercial space has a dropped ceiling, and nobody's guarding it because they think survival is about food, not thermodynamics. Method 2. Shred newspapers and cardboard into loose fill insulation that's free, infinite, and thermally superior to most commercial gear if you layer it right. Crumple newspapers into fist-sized balls. Don't compress them. Just loosely wad them and stuff them into any fabric shell you can find. Old pillowcases, garbage bags, torn jackets, even taped together shopping bags. Each crumpled ball traps a pocket of dead air, and dead air is the only thing standing between you and hypothermia when the temperature drops below freezing. Cardboard works the same way. Tear it into strips, layer it 6 to 8 sheets deep, and you've got a ground pad that'll stop conduction better than foam, because corrugated cardboard is literally designed to trap air in those little triangular channels. This isn't hoarding, this is weaponizing waste. Every dumpster, every recycling bin, every abandoned office is packed with cellulose insulation you've been taught to ignore. Layer it inside your clothes, between your sleeping layers, under your body, and around your shelter walls. The thickness matters. Aim for 4 to 6 inches of loose crumpled paper around your core, and you'll retain enough body heat to survive nights that would kill you in that useless sleeping bag. Your gear failed you. Trash won't. Method 3. Salvage car seats and couch foam for closed cell insulation that blocks wind, traps heat, and doubles as a defensive barrier when your neighbors get hungry. Polyurethane foam from vehicle seats is closed cell, which means each bubble of air is sealed, preventing convection from ripping through it like open cell foam or fiberglass. Rip the upholstery off any abandoned car in your parking garage, pull the foam slabs out, and you've got instant insulation panels that are waterproof, windproof, and thick enough to stack into walls. Couch cushions work the same way. High-density foam designed to support weight is also designed to resist compression, which means it keeps those air pockets intact even when you're sleeping on it. Build a foam box inside your apartment, small enough that your body heat fills the volume in an hour, and you've turned a freezing room into a survivable micro-shelter. The bonus: foam is heavy and bulky, which means it also works as a barricade against forced entry when the building turns feral. Stack it against your door, layer it around your sleeping zone, and you've got thermal and physical protection from the same salvaged trash. Everyone else walked past because they thought survival meant stockpiling canned beans instead of understanding material. Science Method 4. Use plastic sheeting and duct tape to build vapor barriers that stop your body's moisture from soaking your insulation and turning it into a thermal conductor that'll kill you overnight. Every breath you exhale, every bead of sweat on your skin, is water vapor trying to condense into the cold insulation around you. And wet insulation is worse than no insulation, because water conducts heat 25 times faster than air. Grab any plastic, trash bags, shower curtains, painter's tarps, even tape together shopping bags, and wrap it as an outer shell around your insulation layers, sealing the edges with duct tape or packing tape scavenged from shipping zones. This keeps your body's humidity trapped inside, where it stays warm instead of migrating into your newspaper or ceiling tile layers and freezing them into useless slabs of ice. The same principle applies to your clothes: a plastic outer layer, even a garbage bag with holes cut for your head and arms, stops wind convection and moisture loss while letting you move. You'll look like a lunatic. You'll also be alive when everyone else is frozen, because they prioritize dignity over thermodynamics. Vapor barriers aren't optional when the temperature drops. They're the difference between dry insulation that works and wet insulation that becomes a cold pack, sucking the life out of your core. Method 5. Cycle body heat through sealed water bottles to create thermal batteries that store your warmth during activity and release it back during sleep when your metabolism crashes. Fill any scavenged plastic bottles with water, not all the way. Leave expansion room for freezing and carry them inside your jacket against your core while you're moving, working, or doing anything that generates heat. Your body is a furnace burning 2,000 calories a day, and most of that energy radiates away as waste heat you're not capturing. Water has insane thermal mass, meaning it takes a lot of energy to heat up, but then releases that energy slowly over hours, which makes it a perfect heat battery for a cold night. Once the bottles are warm from your body, seal them tight and pack them into your sleeping insulation, tucked against your torso and thighs where major arteries run close to the skin. They'll radiate heat back into your core for 4 to 6 hours, smoothing out the temperature crash that happens when you stop moving and your metabolism drops. The reverse works too. If you're overheating during exertion, those same bottles full of cold water become heat sinks that prevent dangerous core temperature spikes and conserve your hydration. This is thermodynamics as a weapon. Every calorie you generate gets banked instead of wasted, and every bottle you scavenge is another hour of warmth you've stolen from the frozen void. The physics doesn't care about your politics or your prep budget or how much you love your apartment. It cares about surface area, thermal conductivity, and the second law of thermodynamics, which says heat flows from hot to cold until everything reaches equilibrium. And in a dead city in winter, equilibrium is the same temperature as a corpse. You beat that law by trapping air, blocking moisture, stacking mass, and turning every piece of urban trash into a tool your ancestors would recognize because they survived ice ages with less. The people who die in the first week are the ones who thought survival was about having the right stuff instead of understanding why stuff works. You're not one of them anymore. You've got trash, you've got physics, and you've got the spite to weaponize both while everyone else is freezing in their brand name gear, waiting for help that's never coming. Try this tonight. Turn off your heat. Seal yourself in a trash-insulated box with vapor barriers and thermal mass bottles, and see if you can maintain core temperature until morning using nothing but garbage and your own body heat. If you can't, you've just identified the gap between theory and survival, and you've got time to fix it before the grid dies for real. The next collapse topic we're covering: why your stockpiled water is already contaminated, and the 3 trash physics methods to purify it when municipal treatment dies and your Brita filter is landfill. Smash like if you're not dead yet. Comment your best trash insulation hack or the gear myth you're finally abandoning. And subscribe, because the only prep that matters is the one that assumes you're starting from zero in a dead city with nothing but garbage and the refusal to become a statistic. The world ended. You didn't. Keep it that way.